So for today's lesson, there's a few things that you're gonna need. The template, which I've printed out for you guys into 2 pieces so that it's much easier. What you're gonna do is you're just gonna cut out on the dotted line here, and then you're gonna attach that piece onto here, like so. So just grab our scissors. I'm just gonna cut on that line as close and as accurately as possible. Then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna line up all of the lines so that it matches together. And then you're gonna take a little bit of tape and tape it together. All right, so once you've got that tape together, you're just gonna go ahead and take your scissors and you're gonna start to cut this paper blueprint out. And you wanna make sure that you cut right on the line. And continue cutting until it looks something like this. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna get out your pizza box or some kind of cardboard. You can take anything, but you wanna make sure that it's not a super thick one. I think the thickest type of cardboard you're gonna wanna go with is something like this one. But you want it to make sure that it's not super thick. Then you're just gonna go ahead, you're gonna line it up to try and fit it onto your pizza box as accurately as you can. And then you're gonna need a marker, and what you're gonna do is you're just gonna go ahead and you're gonna trace this out. And I try to line up one of my folds right on the fold that's pre-set here by the box where the box was folded earlier. And then tracing it out as accurately as possible. It's okay if you go off the paper a little bit, because just go over it again, because once you lift it up, it's gonna show the paper outline the most, okay? So there we go. We have the base of our pizza box kind of ready. So what you can do is if you grab your X-Acto knife, I like to just trim it roughly around here a little bit, just to make it easier. And you're gonna wanna make sure you put something like a cutting board or a cutting mat underneath of your cardboard so you're not cutting up the floor or the countertop at home. When you're using the knife, I always make sure that you don't have it out too long, because it's easy to break and it can be dangerous. I like to just keep it controlled, keep my hand not in front of or behind the blade, but in front of the blade if I'm pulling down and towards me. And I just kind of trim up the box a little bit so that it's easier for me to work with. Okay? And then all I'm gonna do is go ahead and cut this out. It's pretty straightforward. All right, now you have finished cutting it out. You're gonna wanna grab your marker again. You're gonna grab your template and you're going to lay the template over top and make sure that it's exactly lined up. And you're going to then need to cut all of the solid lines on your template. So make sure that it's lined up perfectly. And you'll see there's just one here, 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 and here. And that's where the folds, when it folds, is going to lock in place. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut these out just very carefully. Just go really slowly. Don't want anyone to jerk and cut yourself. Again, hold it like a pencil, your knife, and then just pull along the line. And this is why I said you're gonna want an X-Acto knife, because although you can use scissors for the other part, this part you cannot. And if you're struggling at the end, what you can do is just turn your knife around, stab it down, and then go the other way, and that might be a little bit safer for you. So that you can cut right up to the edge without having to jerk or have anything become dangerous for you. So again, pull towards you, right up almost to the line, and then turn it around and just go back the other way for a little bit. I think that is the safer and easier way to handle cutting these lines. And don't forget, you hold it in place carefully. And what matters most is your safety, so just be careful when you're doing it, okay? Don't forget to cut these little side bits. This just makes it easier to place these inside. Okay, once that's done, got those little cuts in there. We set that aside, make sure you retract your knife. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna use the template to help you to draw the lines. You're gonna need at least a 30-centimeter ruler, I recommend, because it's just long enough to get through to most parts that you need. So obviously, the first part that's easy is you can just draw your dotted line across where the joints are. Okay, and then I'm gonna go from the point here all the way to the point up here, okay? So where those two match. And you can do a dotted line, you could do a solid line, it doesn't really matter because we've already cut all our solid ones out. Go one there, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. There we have that. Okay, that's done. There is a little hole here. You can just hand draw that. That's where the wiring is going to go through for the light. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top, and we're going to go from this point to this point. Pretty straightforward. Just follow the template, just where you can see where the corners match. And this is going to be our folding line, so it makes it easier for us to do our work. And then from here up to that point. Alright, so now we've got all the lines drawn, it's time to do our folding and put this together. So I recommend that it probably be easiest if you use a ruler to help you to do the bend so that you can be as accurate as possible. So use that reference to hold this. Now you might notice that sometimes your cut doesn't go all the way through, so you're gonna need to be careful. Make sure you're not cutting your hands. Lay it back down and just cut through again so you know that it's actually went all the way through. So when the cut goes all the way through, it should leave a nice opening for you to be able to put in your piece of cardboard. So those little cuts that went down allowed it to have a space between the cardboard for you to fit in your lock. So, for example, the first piece will fit in like that, okay? So we're not gonna put it together until we got all the pieces folded. So I'm just gonna continue with the rest of this. So there we have the beginning of our light. So we have that set up and ready to go for our next class.